I mean, there weren't any easy draws, but it just felt like probably the percentage was to be a bit more selective. John's kind of free-rolling here, to be honest. The way he started off against Ian Alley, he wasn't going to meet many people playing like that. Ian threw him lifeline after lifeline in the second frame of that match. He's got to be coming into this with a lot more confidence.
Agreed, and probably start to find his game. As I say, he can be a slow starter. Well, he's now into match 2, and I expect his game to pick up.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously that's the advantage. You get a win that you shouldn't have got. You can then get better. You're still in the tournament. He's going to have to go 3 in a row. It's kind of nice timing for it. We've got one match more in the afternoon session after this one. If he could win both of them, then he can go off and have his lunch break, knowing that he's guaranteed until well into the evening session. Tough task ahead though. Phil Harrison, who hasn't played yet, obviously one of the best players in the world, so not an easy task.
Very confused looking John McAllister. Still can't quite put the cue ball where he's trying to. And he's thrown in a wide for good measure as well. Not the best of starts. I'm really surprised. I thought he was going to just find a real rhythm here and hit the ground running and play the way he played in the Players' Championship. But very similar to the start of the previous match for John. And we get to see Phil Harrison, the hitman, for the first time in the tournament. He's carrying the immunotherapy bounty on his head. That's the potential prize on offer for John if he was to beat him.
Went to the random draw when he didn't have to, but actually getting a bounty does have some upsides. It means that they're playing for a bit of extra money. He'll ladder up a place if he wins, plus he'll take Phil Harrison's bounty, or at least he'll have a chance of taking it. It'll go to the draw to decide whether he wins it or the bounty is put on his head instead if he was to win. Right now though, John's still struggling a bit for form, which is going to give Phil Harrison that extra bit of confidence. In some ways this probably isn't a format that Phil's going to love. I mean, I think he probably prefers the more traditional tournament format. But we have seen in the history of Ultimate Pool he's put in some very good performances under clock pressure, even if he's not necessarily the player that you'd associate with being the quickest out there.
I think he's understood and realised that he can't have as much of the antics as he's kind of notoriously known for, where he's like a perfectionist out there, and a lot of his shaking of the head and getting frustrated is when he lands even the tiniest amount out of position, even if he is in good shape, and that all takes time away from the clock. He doesn't do that as much now. He will still shake his head and show his frustration, but he's reworking it out pretty quickly compared to how he used to go.
He's also a player that loves playing pool, which may sound like an obvious point, but I think some of the top pros, you feel like if there's not an exciting tournament, they're just not going to bother playing in it, whereas Phil would play in any tournament for any prize money anywhere, so you know that he's always going to be up for the game.
I assume that red must have snuck in, which is why he went the way he went about the finish, but it didn't. He's had to play into it and he's not landed.
He's shaking his head. Can he clip this wafer thin and miss the corner pocket?
It's so thin that the cue ball's not a danger, as in it's not a danger to going off. It'll be flying around the table at a million miles an hour. But no, I think it's too thin. That's why he's coming across the table. Tough one, and John's been let off the hook again. Ian Ali was letting him off the hook, and now it's Phil Harrison's turn.
Sometimes it feels like it's your day, doesn't it? People just seem to give you chance after chance. Doesn't happen very often at this level. John will take these chances, obviously, but what he really wants is just to get a couple of clearances off his own break and just settle down properly into a rhythm in this match, or in this tournament even, because he's kind of winning scrappy frames at the moment.
Still can't get hold of this cue ball. It's every time he's having to rework out and re-find his way. This time he just accepts that he can't get across for the final yellow. It's not really a problem. You make the pot, the natural angle's good. Just don't sneak behind the red and you're fine.
Made a good shot in the end. Where those 4 yellows, or 3 yellows and the black were situated though, that was such an easy clearance. Even then it felt a little bit more laboured than you might have expected. First look at Phil Harrison's break.
Got frustrated too early, Phil. He was already annoyed with not making a ball before he didn't make a ball. Red drops in and it's not the worst layout.
Historically not been the best part of his game, the break, but that is another one of the areas that he has focused on. Playing under these conditions, players get such a high percentage of breaks where they pot a ball. It's important to be able to compete with that. Slightly off angle, it's not a major problem, but opportunity nonetheless for a head shake.
Oh no. No. That looked like it came right out the middle of the table. Let's have another look. Yeah. Yeah, tough scenes. Tough scenes for Phil Harrison. It can happen when you're forcing him. It tends to happen when you're not forcing him that much, actually. But, yeah.
Bit more explicable sometimes in the middle pocket playing at that pace, but still he hit that very cleanly. Very disappointing to see that bounce back onto the table.
Tough counter here though for John. There's hoping this frame won't be gone for Phil Harrison. There's a real issue down the bottom end of the table. It's going to take a bit of working out, and John's not firing here, so certainly will be hope for Phil. Mark lets John know it's touching ball, which is, in this situation, fairly meaningless in terms of he still has to hit a yellow and he still has to hit a cushion after contact. Touching the red doesn't mean a huge amount.
Almost feels like the referee's rubbing it in and pointing out just how bad a shot it was.
Yeah. One of those strange rules, the referee having to announce touching ball when you're touching your opponent's ball. It doesn't help you in any way, shape or form, and whether it was touching or not, it doesn't change anything. No. No idea how that one's gone in. I don't think John wanted it in.
not really a clearance he wants to continue with, because it's not getting any easier from here.
We're in a strange situation where Phil's missed a pot in this frame where he hit the centre of the pocket, and John's made a pot where he hit the centre of the cushion. So you don't see that very often.
No, it's been a strange couple of matches. We started off so conventionally, good quality of ball played early on, and then a few things have just happened in the last couple of matches. That's not quite tight enough, really, I don't think. I mean, it's obstructed Phil a bit, but still, Phil, the master tactician, he's going to relish getting stuck into this kind of position.
Yeah, we've ticked into the second half of the match as well. Only one frame on the board, and you feel like a long way left in this one.
Well, good news and bad news. He's got one of the yellows out the way, but white's not in a great spot. I feel like either player's really settled into the match arena. This is John's second match out there. Not often you see Phil in a position where it feels like he's chasing a clearance, but not really clear where he thinks he's going from here.
He's definitely chasing. Yeah, it's a clever shot. Well worked out. Kind of gets at least two of the reds into play, keeps the yellows tied up, put the cue ball in an area of the table where good things could happen for him.
Well, especially watching his opponent not in tremendous form. I mean, often you wouldn't want to leave John any sight of anything, but right now just leaving him at distance from his work is probably a pretty good plan.
John holds up his hand to apologise because he was not playing off the bottom cushion. Lucky to hit the ball and reach the cushion, but that's where the apology should stop, because he's left Phil the perfect angle just to play the break out of the ball at the bottom, and the other two are on. So it's a good chance for Phil. And that's really good as well. That is really, really good. Not just firing into that ball hoping. That was exactly what he was trying to do.
The only challenge here is he's got to hit this ball thick enough. Ideally, the potting angle is quite thin, but he wants to hit it on the thick side just to get position for the remaining red. I think he can just borrow enough of the pocket to do that, though. Yeah, no problem.
It's okay here as well. The yellow isn't really in play near the bottom right hand corner. He should float around naturally here. Well, I say that, I'm assuming the 8 ball goes bottom left, but maybe it doesn't the way he's looking. Well, I've been fooled by Phil before. Oh, it doesn't. So this is actually a real problem.
Well, it's made a mess of that, trying to play around the back of that yellow for the 8 ball to the opposite centre. It's come up well short. Now, what can you see? You can obviously see the thin edge.
Oh, what? Oh, wow. That would have been one of the most exceptional 8 balls we've ever seen if that had gone in. That was as thin a pot as I've ever seen. Oh, that's heartbreaking for him. It really is. I didn't think he could hit it thin enough to make the pot when he was queuing up for it. I really didn't, but that was centre of the pocket. And, well, just tough scenes for him, really. Nothing happening in this frame for him at all. Everything's going wrong for him. And John, without playing any even close to his best, is going 2-0 up here and having won the previous one in the same circumstances.
Well, quite, and I mean, none of this is a doing a disservice to John. I mean, he's just taken the frames that are there. It's just played out in a very strange way.
It's a pretty ugly layout here. Good solid break, good hit, good, seemingly good spread of the balls, but not really. Come back a bit awkward. Okay, that's it. Take yellows and try and deal with the biggest problem at the top of the table. I was thinking the same thing, take yellows and then maybe the loss of turn at the bottom, and it gives you a good foothold in the frame, but he tried to deal with the yellow as well. I feel like the red in the middle of the table is awkward enough that he has a tactical foothold in this frame, and we are into the final 5 minutes and he's 2-0 to the good, so good choices for John really, even though it didn't come out nicely for him.
Got a bit caught there between two shots. If he'd been slightly wider with that yellow, it would have gone in off the other yellow, but just found the gap between the cushion and the ball. Not a terrible situation though, one of those positions where you're not exactly unhappy to see your opponent chase after something. And right now Phil's all at sea. It's not been all of his own making. He's had a couple of very unfortunate moments in this match which can't have helped his self-confidence. This is match 2, a potential 3 for John, so it's not quite done even if he wins this match. But it does just feel like another attritional match he needs to get through. As you rightly say, plenty of chance to play better later on in the tournament as long as you stay in it.
Yeah, and I will ask you the question, if he goes on and wins this match, what's he likely to do? But I think we both know the answer, and I'm sure everybody watching knows the answer. He's going to the random draw. He's not going to pick out a hitman, and you go into the random draw when there's everybody available, and you're going to go to the random draw when it's only hitmen. So.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, I think, obviously he's going to have to anyway, given the way it's played out. But I think, given the fact he hasn't quite got into his groove, shouting somebody out probably isn't the right play at the moment.
No.
I think he's left quite a few things to fate. I think probably fate will have to decide his opponent as well if it comes to it. Although, I mean, let's give him credit where credit's due. He has come up with some big shots where it's been required. It's just he's been giving some chances you really wouldn't expect as we see another one missed.
Another miss I just can't explain. This isn't... John's not playing anywhere near the level he was at the Players' Championship. And that's a big one, because if he goes 3-0, you can kind of forget about it. He's essentially, with only 2 minutes to play, got this match wrapped up. But Phil's got enough time here to counter, and he has the next break and he'll have time.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising to find there's only 2 minutes remaining on the match clock given the score's 2-0, but that's just how the match has gone so far. He's going to drop this one carefully into the middle. It's quite an acute angle. It's the kind of shot that Phil's very good at. So he's getting about these at a lively pace. He has got plenty of time though.
He has made a ball, and he'll be over the moon with a layout. This is good. This is every chance for 2-2. Every chance for the 6-red shootout for the first time in the competition this year.
Yeah, it really should be. I'm hesitant to say that it will be, because this match has had a lot of twists already, but Phil couldn't ask for a better chance than this to get the scores levelled up. With two players of this calibre, it's very surprising to be talking about a 2-all draw in prospect at the end of 20 minutes of play, as Phil overruns the positional shot from what looked like a routine position.
Can you believe it? He had all the room in the world there.
And he can't afford the head shaking here. He's got to get down and play a shot, because otherwise he's going to run out of time.
He's just got 45 seconds. He's got to make one out of a snooker, otherwise he is not winning this match. So, oh no, wow.
And he has made one out of a snooker. That was what he needed.
Okay, 35.
Well, it's been ridiculous the way this match has gone, and that's fitting. Can Phil eke out a draw here?
Oh, no. Oh, so close, and he's going to come forward and shake hands. He knows he can't. Once he makes the ball from the snooker, you feel he's going to do it because of, well, he thought he was out on multiple occasions, but...
You can either call out a fellow hitman now, or you can go to the random draw. What do you fancy doing?
Random draw again.
I thought it might be. Okay. Computer, when you are ready, let's find out John's next opponent as he looks to go 3 in a row in the last man standing. Who is it going to be? Drew out a hitman, Phil Harrison, with his last one. He gets another hitman. It's Jack Whelan in this one. It's Hitman v Hitman.